What's up, dudes? Max here, back with a follow-up to those Mortal Kombat 11 videos we had earlier. As you remember, we made several videos talking about a lot of the base mechanics, the structure, and my overall thoughts and feelings on the game, and those were kind of based around the launch period, the first initial impressions we had. Since then, like I said, a lot of stuff has come out. There's been more information regarding the mechanics, how things work, what's going to be included in the game, and we've had some time to digest all of this to sort of get a more balanced opinion based on the sort of hot takes that were revolving around the gameplay of the first day. The interesting thing, and I think an interesting conversation that is to be had with Mortal Kombat, is this video following up, which is going to take a couple of different opinions. Now, I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy the slower combat of Mortal Kombat 11 compared to kind of the fast insanity that was the previous MKs, but based on the group of friends that I have and some people that I've been talking to that like Mortal Kombat, they sort of like the craziness. I don't think they directly like the 50-50s or anything like that from MKX, but they do appreciate the sort of in-your-face action that was presented sort of with a bit of MKX with the run button, and Mortal Kombat 9 being kind of a very fast fighting game. So the interesting thing is that we got Kenny and Steve, and of course Simmons from the O Video Games crew. We sort of compiled everyone together to give our current impressions on a game, and Kenny and Steve are in a boat where they love MK9 and MKX a lot, so they're a little worried about the situation, and you kind of get to hear their feelings, while I'm sort of balanced on the whole thing. I'm kind of waiting to see where it comes out and what they're going to do with it. But I didn't absolutely love every element of the gameplay. I do think some things need adjusting, and we sort of discuss that. What's our favorite aspects of MK11 right now in terms of like visuals and roster, what we're looking forward to the roster, and more importantly, gameplay-wise, what direction they're taking Mortal Kombat, because it's obviously much different, and the big portion of discussion is how divisive that might actually be for a little bit of the fan base of the people that like the previous MKs, and you can kind of get their take on it. Either way, here's the entire impressions with some minor editing, so you can get a full scope of what the hell we're talking about. But as always, the Combat Cast is going to be in just about a week. Can't wait to see what the heck they're going to be pulling up for us next time, because I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be even more information next to another character reveal, which is most likely going to be Kabal. I'm revolving my life around that day so that I'm not going to be doing anything for that Combat Cast to report back and show you guys what the hell's going on. As always, dudes, thank you a ton for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. We've had a couple of days to sort of absolve everything with MK and the reactions of players and the way the game looks, and now we're at the point where I think we all have a pretty good understanding of the systems, the mechanics.
Yeah.
We've seen it in action, we played a lot of it, and here's my biggest question to all of you guys. If you had the opportunity, would you want to go back and play more immediately?
Yeah.
I would too. Like, I feel like I wanted to go back and try to figure more stuff out.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we were sort of scratching the surface.
Yeah. Before we actually got to the
it didn't seem like there was much further we could go with like its combo system, much less. The one thing that I was definitely like, this might need adjustment is the mobility. Like the way the game, your character moves is just very, and the way dashing is, like, there's not much around that to make your character go faster. Like,
how many hours do you think we spent playing that game?
I honestly, I think I played
you spent the most.
I think I played like 70 matches.
70 matches.
I spent about 4 hours on the sticks.
Yeah.
So I probably got as much just because I was just on that station and no one bugged me.
Yeah.
And everyone, they just kind of like forgot about me, and I was like, and the funny thing is the stations around me were empty.
Yeah.
A little bit. So I was like,
oh,
I guess they're not having like, an overpopulation issue over here.
Well, it wasn't that. It's that they weren't letting like people in who weren't creators. So
so it was like, so they kind of just let me do my thing for a bit.
I would go back and play like Braca and Sub, but there were like some characters that I was just kind of like,
And you were lucky enough to get like hands-on experience with some of the devs who were
and that was
on the spot too.
that was one of the nicest things, is that I got several developers that were actually character designers of the way those characters play.
Right.
So I got them to show me the new mechanics, much less how to play the characters. And I was like, okay, sick, thank you. This is actually helping a shit ton.
Right.
But, so it's been a couple of days. I'm very much at the point where I feel like learning characters in this game is going to be a lot easier than MKX.
Huh. Okay.
So I'm kind of more interested
From their moveset,
in
the
rotating.
combo things, it didn't look that intense.
Yeah, like the move lists absolutely look to be more focused around a Mortal Kombat 9 move list, where there's a lot less of strings the characters can do.
Definitely.
There's a lot less of like special moves, because you only get, as we're seeing right here, only so many specials.
Yeah.
This is one thing I need to make a thing talking about, because if there's one thing I heavily disagree with is the variations.
Yeah.
And how they're handling it because they're just doing MKX again. It doesn't seem necessary.
It's not necessary.
And it's not what anybody wants.
Yeah.
Like one of Baraka's things, I didn't even know what the hell it was. He carried around a flag.
Dude, he carried around a flag,
what does
and
he do?
he had one move that actually like grabbed you, and if you meet a bird, he would bounce you down, and you actually got a combo follow up.
Yeah.
But apparently, on all the variations in our build, he didn't have that.
Yeah.
So you had to make a custom variation and add it. But in the UK build, it had it in one of their variations they made. So a lot of the guys that were playing competitively on the day of were saying how, the Baraka we had didn't have that move.
Yeah.
So we couldn't even do the combo. You couldn't do combos with Baraka because you literally were missing a move. And here's my thing. It's like, well, I want to pick the variations or the moves that allow me to do combo extensions.
Yeah.
If I like doing combos, and I should have that choice as a player. So.
Yes, a bad idea. There is still a switch button. Now, I'm curious because
Switch button ties into gameplay mechanics.
Yes,
though.
it does. It's
Yeah.
actually very important. I'm curious to know what Bad Idea's take on the animation is.
I think
because
he already
great.
said he's making a video on it.
Oh, he's making a
There's
video.
definitely still some issues if you want
Really?
to talk about raw animations, but it is heavily improved.
Yeah, it's way better than what it was before.
And as the same with every NRS game, the animations get better on like every big jump, like Mortal Kombat to Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And Justice kind of just sort of like takes a little bit from the previous games.
Of course.
They
and
did remove the Butler stance late in the game for Batman because he was totally going to launch with the Butler stance.
Yes,
against-
Oh, really?
exactly. Yeah, the funny Butler stance, and they had to give him one of these.
Butler stance. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
So what I'm saying is, based on our playtime, I'm still curious to play more, and I'm curious based on what you guys are seeing. Are you more excited, or still just as excited as before? Because we were all a little like worried about the game, because based on how much we played it, and I still have my concerns, absolutely.
Yeah.
But based on some of the stuff that Ketchup and Mustard showed, where it was like, oh, if you get two characters that are actually designed to be poking each other at that range, and they're doing that a lot, it's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It's just that a lot of what we played in the U.S. and against U.S. players, people were carrying over their habits from Injustice 2, and it seemed very effective.
Yeah.
And the game seemed
But you can stop that. You can stuff that if you're
at times it seems some characters could. It's like everyone will pick Scorpion to just blow that shit up.
get away.
And I'm like, but not everyone should pick Scorpion. It's almost like every character should have a way in or around.
Yeah.
And when you see, like a literal Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight, it actually like, yo, this is some fucking Mortal Kombat. This is actually kind of dope. Yeah, I'd say overall, like, I definitely want to play more. There's definitely, like, I'm looking forward to the new characters. I want to see if a character kind of changes the way things are, and I'm also really curious if they're not, they haven't shown us everything yet.
Did you see that video of Cassie Cage calling out Katana?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean,
Like,
there's also like not just to mention characters. I think mechanically there could be some things.
New stuff that
I
they
think
haven't
there is.
shown
There are
us.
things that were like.
There
question
might be
marks.
some things that we haven't seen entirely yet.
Yeah.
And it was like almost a theory where some of the stuff they were showing off in the tower mode, you can like bring in another character and they do an assist, and I was like, that's interesting.
Right.
And almost like, well, maybe combos are going to be limited in 1v1, but maybe there's going to be a tag mode where combos will be longer.
The weird
I
thing
would
with,
love a tag
That,
mode.
I mean, that would be godlike. I don't
Amazing,
know if that's happening, but
who knows if they're gonna bring that back?
they already have a mode where other characters come in and the game is supporting more character models, so I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Maybe tagging might be a thing in something. I
They
don't
didn't
know.
actually talk a lot about modes in the game.
They really didn't.
This is just
They
the early
did- they
preliminary. Showing
They
everything.
didn't
right?
talk anything about modes.
Yeah. They're just
In
being.
different combat casts.
Yeah. Right now, I'd say just let's focus on the tech, the characters, and some of the new the new animations that they got for this stuff like that. But modes and all that stuff like that, that'll be later. I really don't think. We need to.
So I'm down for its style that they're presenting. Like I do kind of like the very offensive rush style because that's what made Mortal Kombat kind of unique.
Yes.
That's literally what made it unique. And now they're taking a style that's more emulating something that is quote unquote honest. You know,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
want to
For
be
me-
an honest fighting game.
Like MK9, MKX, they're like NBA Jams and NFL Blitz.
Yeah, that's a very good example.
This is like Madden.
And
it's like nothing wrong with
gameplay-wise,
Madden. It's like Madden is fair. There's no crazy off the wall. This is like a fair thing.
Yes.
And it's a much slower game, so it is like a Madden. Madden is not bad in any way. Lots of people love it.
but it's down to personal preference.
It's
How
only
much do you
personal
like?
preference.
You know,
I like
just
the
whiff
fast,
punishing,
crazy
yeah.
style. You know.
Well, let's not.
FMK.
let's not give Madden too much credit. 'Cause I saw Angry Joe's thing recently. I'm like, wow, Madden really went to shit, didn't it, under EA?
Well, yeah, I don't know, but like people like that. There's people that like
The people that like,
Madden's now pay to win.
games that focus so much on, ground spacing and footsies.
Right.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, like
And some people
Max
are
and Crew are
excited.
just,
Let's
Max
call-
and Crew are just saying it's Street Fighter now.
Let's call it what it is. It is literally going the way of esports. It is literally going the way of that.
But yeah, like I
Yeah.
definitely get that feeling
Yes,
that
that's what
there
I'm
is a
getting.
very safe. I'm
Yeah.
feeling like same things that happened with Street Fighter
Street Fighter
5.
V,
A very
yes.
safe approach. We're gonna have combos be a more like controlled and what
Yes.
you can do.
Yes.
It definitely feels that way. Although I do feel the players are gonna figure shit out. Like,
course.
people are gonna break stuff, and then the combos are gonna open up. And there's
Of
gonna be
course.
new opportunities that
Of
happens
course.
in every single
And you know
game.
what's going to happen? They're going to patch them. I already
Maybe.
feel it.
I mean-
I feel it, dude.
Well, there's a
Maybe.
lot of weirdness, like with the whole esports thing, where like the whole meter thing, how it's the UI is, how it works,
Yeah.
the cooldown. It's almost like someone was like, what's big in esports? And they
Let's-
looked at
and
they-
shit like LOL, and there's
Right.
almost
A
like
little
this response of like, you should
Let's do
have
this.
your meter in special moves should work the same way this game in a MOBA works.
Yeah.
a little
And
bit.
it's like,
a lot of people didn't like that though.
A lot of people. Yeah, the
No,
UI seems to be very.
Not the UI, but people weren't liking how Meter just rebuilt.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. The game is going to be very divisive.
I haven't seen it.
Well,
in a
that
fighting
was
game
the problem
before, so
that
I'm
you
like,
noticed
let's
that
see how it works.
I didn't notice before is that, well, what's to stop a guy from just walking away so he can build his meter?
Yeah.
If he can stay back.
I mean,
let's
I only mention that because that's what I ran into.
right, of course. I mean,
And I was still winning those matches, but I had to work harder.
well, I mean, that's the problem is that if you're in a tournament setting and you see somebody do that and they're getting the advantage, it's going to be really bad because a lot of the matches are going to end up with the characters just walking away, building their meter, and then they start attacking again.
Yeah.
And that's not fun to watch.
Yeah,
that's
I
not
agree.
fun to play.
I mean, and I hope like for example, you see during Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and when you see them fight with like people that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's like this actually
It's-
looks
it's fucking
badass.
good,
Like
yeah, it's fucking
this
cool.
is fucking Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, if there's more of that, then it's cool. But small changes here and there, and I don't even think there needs to be a lot of changes. Like,
Yeah.
I think the combo
Yeah.
thing will get figured out. I think having extensions to combos and utilizing Fatal Blow
yeah,
and all
people will
that stuff,
figure. Yeah, people will figure.
that'll
it
get
out
figured out, and things will start doing crazy damage.
Yeah.
And that'll be really hyped to see someone do 3 Fatal Blows in a combo.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
You just 80% a motherfucker.
Yeah.
I think that'll be badass.
Yeah, I think really just the one big gameplay thing is just make the dashes a little better.
And everyone is saying the same thing. Pro
They need
players,
to go further. They need to,
even
Yeah.
casual players, where
Because
people are saying like
I,
it's just
I personally love the run button. I wish they actually had a specific button instead of block forward.
Yeah, well, I mean, run
Uh,
is like a whole other mechanic you'd have to add. Like, I feel like just
this game is definitely not designed for run. Run ain't
just
coming back.
making
No, run ain't coming back.
dash,
Run ain't coming back.
just making dash a little
But
better.
you like
I
run,
think
right?
could just be like
Yeah.
a
I like run too.
Yeah.
I like that mechanic. I didn't like the way it was implemented as much in MKX
Because of the forward.
because of the
block.
input.
Yeah, the input was trash.
But yeah, I kind of like how everything's just kind of in your face all the time.
Yeah.
And you know what pro players don't like? Pro players, and Sonic Fox said it exactly, which I mean is a further test to like a lot of pro players like playing the neutral because in a lot of games there's ways around the neutral.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I just want to sit here and walk back and forward and whiff punish you
Yeah,
and bait you
yeah.
into doing stuff, and then I'm gonna blow you up for it. Because that is at its core, like at its fucking core,
Yeah,
fighting games. When you
yeah.
focus around that, that's what makes Street Fighter so much because there's not a
They're
lot of
waiting
things
for somebody to fuck
interrupt the neutral. There's
Yeah,
not like
they're waiting for
all of a sudden I'm
somebody.
in your face. All of a
Yeah.
sudden I've air dashed in. All of a sudden I super dash. Like
Yeah.
it's destroying the neutral. And people like core neutral and stuff. I get
Yeah.
that. But
That's
I personally like mobility options. This is why KOF and Guilty Gear, in my opinion, and KI have some amazing neutral, in my opinion,
Right,
because
right.
it feels like you're always doing something. It feels like you're always either building
never
towards
safe
something.
waiting for the guy to do the thing that you want him to do so you can blow him up.
Yeah.
You're never safe.
All of a
doing
sudden,
that.
this guy's in your fucking face.
And now you're like, okay, now you're putting that pressure, and people want to see
Yeah.
the professional players like not really panic, but they want to see him put the test.
Yeah, and they
You know
want to
what I mean?
see, and the developers and professional players alike enjoy more focused neutral because you get to figure each other out.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm gonna. Oh, you do that when I do this, and then you really get to focus on those core elements of fighting games.
Yeah.
And yes, MK in the past has been very like wacky. Like you're gonna
Well-
run across the screen, you're gonna dash in, you're gonna dash cancel, you're gonna do all this stuff.
Even with the dashes in MK9, you could get somebody in your face almost immediately, especially with somebody like Sonya or what's her name, your girl. freaking Melina. Yes,
Yeah.
they can be right on top of you
Right.
no matter what. And
those are because of special moves.
moves because of the moves.
Yeah, not even as much the movement, but
The actual move
their
sets
move
themselves.
sets
Yeah.
are really, really, really they're neutral
MK
depends
had
on.
a
And there's
lot
certain
of
characters that
stuff
would get that.
for that.
Yeah.
Like to counter
Cabal could do it.
that. Cabal had an armored.
Yeah, Cabal can do it.
Oh,
Reptile
so
can do
here's
it.
a big question for you guys that is now, and I got confirmed based on other impressions where I was like, there's no armor in this game.
No,
Yeah.
there is none.
There is
Yeah.
no armor at all. So
Yeah.
if the only armor you get is on those wake ups,
Yeah.
like the horizontal or vertical wake
And
ups,
sometimes you get blown up for it too. If you do the wrong
well,
one.
if you choose wrong,
Yeah, you choose wrong, you get blown
a
up.
lot of the time your safe option is either to roll in or out.
I've never done it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. I'll say the input for that was weird. But what do you guys feel about no more armor? on anything?
I don't like it.
If I'd imagine since you like MK9 and MKX, it's gonna be like
it's like weird to me. You know what I mean?
It's
But I
definitely weird.
understand that it's a good choice from their perspective. For me, I feel that if somebody's constantly doing something that you can't figure out, get out of there. And the best way to do that was armored moves.
Yeah.
Also, it was a way to bait somebody. Like, oh, he's gonna do an armored move. I'm waiting for it. I think armored moves are great as long as they're not safe.
Yes.
There are armored moves in MKX.
I thought
and
the
in-
balance of MKX was pretty good, but there
Yeah.
were still some armored moves that just got you out of shit for free.
Yeah.
But they didn't lead to a combo, but they just still like, here's an armored move. Oh, I know you're going to do an armored move. Block. But you're still safe. Yeah.
That was the problem, and I admit it, even though I used her with fucking Sonya. That cartwheel was fucking ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
It's an offensive, a defensive, and
Yeah.
a combo starter, and it's safe.
Yeah, it was goofy.
It was fucking
Yeah,
insane.
it was super goofy.
It was great. So,
Dude.
yeah, stuff like that shouldn't be in a game that is derived around, oh, okay, well,
Yeah,
that's
and that's true. There is armor on some interactables. around the
Interactables
stage.
and wake up things. The
Yeah.
thing that shocked me the most when I got this game and put it in my hands and I dashed,
Didn't go anywhere.
I didn't know. I'm like, am I dashing? I kept trying it. I'm
I feel
like,
like you're just walking.
is this a
towards it.
dash? Is this a walk?
This is a very frequent theme
Like,
amongst everybody.
I was literally shocked. I'm
it's a
like,
quick
this is
step.
this
Yeah.
is not even a
Quick
dash.
step.
This is a
And
this is a step.
Well, the big problem with it is that it wasn't just its distance that it covered; is
Yeah.
that your character takes a while to get out of it.
yeah,
Like
out of it too.
almost more than and MKX's dashes. You have to commit to that shit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
MK9 not so much. Dashes are kind of fast in MK9. But in MKX, it's like, oh, you run because dashing is kind of unsafe.
Yeah.
But it covers a big distance. Dashing was still good in the game.
Yeah.
And this one, it's like, there's even more recovery.
The character goes.
And it barely covers any space.
But you can do dash blocking. You do dash blocking.
But there was
It's
useless.
weird,
You know what's
yeah.
better? Walking.
Yeah,
Literally,
honestly,
walking was better.
Like if we had the game right now, I'd love to do a test of dashing across the screen or walking.
I almost
across the
guarantee
screen.
you walking will be almost
Yeah,
just as fast.
I will guarantee. Yeah, exactly. Walking would be just
and
as
it's
fast.
and it's not
maybe
that
even faster.
it's not that walking is inherently very fast in the game. It's just that dashes are that slow.
Yeah.
Because walking is one of the things that I kind of hope do get changed. But once again, big things.
Yeah.
Hope there's a little boost to walking speed
Yeah.
and character mobility,
You don't even notice when you dash.
and a change to make dashes actually worth it in some way. Like
I'm literally looking at the match right now. None of these characters even dash. Like they're just using special moves to get in on each other. They're not really dashing.
yeah, I think I'm
Yeah,
actually
please.
playing the developer right here.
Oh, okay.
I think this the guy who made Scorpion is playing Scorpion.
Not a single
right
one
now.
of you has been dashing so far.
Well, because dashing is not good.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
And there's a reason. And there you go. And that's the thing that I'm saying is that I know some people don't like the run, but even in what was it? CVS 2, when you picked the K version, you had the run. And you run in,
Yeah.
like you would go so fast. It
And
was
someone
so
did have a good point. Like a lot of that mobility seems to be that way because characters have a lot of lunging forward moves.
Moves, yes,
they do.
yes, yes.
They absolutely
Yeah,
do.
so they
But at the same time, it's like this game is going to be all about committing to those lunging forward moves.
Yeah, and if
you're committing to it, and all of a sudden they neutral jump, then you've committed. Those moves have a lot of recovery now. You got more recovery than most MK games before. So you're going to be scared of throwing that stuff out if it's that easily like avoidable. If you can neutral jump or forward jump.
Street Fighter 5 had that. You tried to fucking lunge
and
it
that's
like
what I'm literally about to say.
Yeah, literally Barrog would go "Rah," and you're just neutral jumping like an idiot.
That-
Guess what? You got advantage.
That element is going to feel very Street Fighter V like in Street Fighter V Neutral.
Yes.
So I would just say if it was more if there was better mobility options in general where you would walk and you would dash and you would get a bit more of a reward for it.
Why do you think they took away the neutral jump heavy punch that bounced you up and out? Because that was always the thing.
So that was an interesting thing because
Yeah.
NJPs before were very good
NJPs.
combo extenders and they were good anti-airs.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
If somebody,
yeah.
if somebody
Oh
was
my
jumping
God.
at you and because you have to wait to hit the attack button on the way down.
Yeah.
And then if all of a sudden you're like, nope, well, bam, and then you get a combo.
MK9 was notorious for it. You
Oh, I
would
know.
just tap it up
Yeah.
like that and just bounce them up, and they're like, okay, guess what? I got a free combo.
If that is, since that is now technically gone for the majority of characters,
Right.
it makes anti-airs kind of weird.
Yeah, really.
So, like, anti-airing an enemy felt not like there wasn't an inherent answer. There wasn't like a Guilty Gear forward punch.
yeah, you have
You know,
to do a special move.
There
at this
was you had to find what was really good to
Useful.
anti-air, but
Yeah.
it seemed like jump-ins were kind of free still.
Yeah.
Like, while sometimes it felt like my down two would knock them the hell away.
Yeah.
Sometimes it really didn't, and I was like, oh god.
I saw that too.
I think I saw. I don't know if it was Sonic Fox doing that, but I remember seeing Sonya do a cross-up kick, and as the character, he's falling backwards.
Yeah.
Since it was a cross-up, he was able to do 333, which is her up
Yeah.
kick, and connect it. So
Yeah.
he did the cross-up kick, it knocked him back. But
Yeah,
since
cross-ups
it was
act like Injustice 2 in this game.
Right. So she did the cross-up, and it was still able to do a combo after that, which
Yeah.
has never been anything in.
It's
Mortal Kombat.
it's definitely different, and I did notice like if you did wait a long time during a cross up and did like a cross up punch, which is what you do in Mortal Kombat to get like a jump in.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't
yeah.
do kicks because it knocks them down.
knocks them down, yeah.
You had to wait a long time.
Yes.
But you could do a cross up kick in this game.
Yeah,
which doesn't really happen in MK
Any Mortal Kombat, no.
for the most part, but happens in Injustice.
is
So
nice.
there's
you could just
definitely
neutral.
some Injustice elements in
Yeah.
the neutral that they're introducing, but the definite thing that it doesn't have from Injustice is the screen space. Screen
No.
space is absolutely MK style.
Yeah.
It is not nearly as big, and the stages aren't nearly as big. So that's refreshing and good, and
Yeah.
will definitely keep people in each other's
Still
faces.
bigger
so-
than like Street Fighter.
So
though.
you
A little bit. Yeah.
So you asked us, what we thought of the lack of running around like that, and the dash cancels and stuff like that. But what do you think about the lack of combo breakers?
No.
I never personally liked breakers too much in MK.
Really?
I would have. For me personally.
Yeah.
The Mortal Kombat, like you said, you had a great point. MK always does what other games are doing.
Yeah.
They
And then
constantly take elements and
yeah.
mechanics from other fighting
And
games
they
and
improve
integrate
on
it
them.
in their own way, or
Yeah.
improve it, or sometimes don't improve it, or
Yeah.
vice versa. MK9 is the greatest example of that because it literally took the template of Street Fighter,
and
Fighter
just-
4.
And you can see that. they
and
even
the
have
history
full-
goes beyond other games, not just Street Fighter, but
Yes.
other 3D games.
Yes, they do.
Anyway, if there's one thing I really wish that they would just steal, just straight take.
Yeah.
Imagine if this game still had breakers, and there was a moment where you could use all of your defensive and offensive bar, or something like that,
Right.
and hit flip while you're while you're attacking the opponent, and if they broke, if you know they break, the game would go into a cinematic, and it goes, breaker! But then the camera zooms the fuck in, and your character goes, and catches their fucking breaker. Counter breakers.
Yeah, counter breakers. You want counter
How
breakers?
badass would it be if, like, the fatal blow, I'm sorry, the critical blow system,
Right,
crushing
right.
blow, actually worked in a similar way, where it's like, I know what you're gonna do, bitch! Crack! And you grab their breaker? Like, Jesus Christ, that would be badass.
What was the sound of it though?
And it's zooming in, and it shows them just like grab their arm and break their arm, and then they get their own combo. Like,
Yeah. That'd be pretty dope.
Sweet Jesus. Wrong game. I mean, I'm exactly describing a counter breaker.
Right, of course.
Because this game is taking so many elements from Street Fighter.
Yeah, it could. I mean, it could. That's what Mortal Kombat
and
does.
it's taking elements from other
Shadow
games,
counter!
like it's taking other elements from other games
Yeah.
like Soul Calibur, and many mechanics in MKX are taking stuff from other games.
You realize that
Take that from Killer
the
Instinct,
3D
please.
series had parries, which they took from Street Fighter. They literally just took that from Street Fighter. They had parries.
Yeah,
So-
this game has harder than Third
Kind of
Strike parries.
Not really parries, but yeah.
They're
No,
harder.
I mean in Armageddon. Or was it Armageddon or Deception? In Armageddon as well, yes.
Like chat, the idea is that if
They
you
took
know
that.
someone's going to do a breaker, you
literally
can
it's in the same
sacrifice
way.
you can
Yeah.
sacrifice your gauge to stop their breaker. So if like you're psychic and you know that they're going to break,
Yeah.
you can put yourself in an unsafe position for even further
Right.
combo.
Yeah.
But
Get that meta going.
yeah, you could essentially stop someone from breaking your combo if you're
know
if you're
they're
in
gonna
their
do it.
head
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
Like that would be amazing. And you know what other games exist like?
it would also be exciting.
It would be exciting
Yes,
as fuck.
yes,
It'd be
yes.
exciting to watch.
You know another game it's super exciting in? Guilty Gear.
Yeah.
There's anti burst strats where it's like I know you're gonna burst, I
yes,
block,
they stop, yeah. So
and
they
then
stop
you just
attacking.
punish the shit out of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think
Super
burst and breaker blowups are like some of the coolest stuff they could.
You know, it's not even a
burst breaking.
mechanic. It's just literally the other person stopping his
Yes.
combo. And
But
just-
the game is designed that
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
know,
they'll know that,
you
yeah.
can. But I'm saying, yeah, you can turn it into a big ass cinematic element.
Yeah.
That would actually incorporate like. You grab their ass and
Yeah,
it's like
and stop
breaker,
it.
and then it
stops
zooms
it.
in on your character. I don't think so, motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah.
Crack, and then you go out and get your own combo again.
That would be fucking dope. I do agree that kind of element would enhance the game.
There are brutalities
style
in the
there.
game. A lot of this stuff seems cool. It already seems like there's going to be more than 2 fatalities because if you look on like where you can actually customize character fatalities and
they're
intros,
there.
there's a lot. Like there's probably going to be 4 to 6 intros per character, 4 to 6 outros,
Yeah,
potentially 3 to 4 fatalities per character. So that's all like there's multiple brutalities because there's brutalities off of the moves that you don't use and all the extra moves. I'm like, wow. So there's way more ways to finish off the
A lot of
opponent.
stipulations right
They're
now.
even teasing harakiris and stuff like that, potentially for, you know, and they did say quitalities, like, oh, fucking Derek is like, I love quitalities. So, I mean,
Fatalities are the best thing.
that, I think a lot of that stuff, like, all those small elements are going to be there. It's like I feel there's so little that they need to change from this build going forward to MKX to actually make a lot of us, if not a lot of what people are complaining about right now, which is the movement, really happy.
Right.
And to be honest, the big things, because I understand why people are upset about combos, and I do like more combo options to be creative. I want to be creative with characters. The last thing I want is this guy's Scorpion and this guy's Sub-Zero, and then the other guy's Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and you really can't tell the
the
difference.
difference. Yeah, they're playing exactly.
That's
the same.
like that is the Street Fighter V problem.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
specifically, like
Yeah.
I can absolutely tell if Scar is playing Smoke in MKX.
Yeah.
I can absolutely tell if Hayate is playing Takeda in MKX as well. You can tell if Foxy is playing Melina. Like like no one can hit confirm like that. No one can do that shit. Like that shit is fucking
I
tough.
forget the term, but it's kind of like
That was-
Cammy.
that was-
Like when somebody plays Cammy, it's
One Cammy, there's another.
they're all
They're all the
fucking
same shit.
That was
I
my
forget
biggest.
the fucking
That was
term.
my biggest concern with the game was that when I had my session,
Chat, what's the term?
it was like there seemed to be an optimal way to play each character, and anytime I tried to deviate from that, it was like I got punished for it.
Well, I mean,
That's
it's
what
Flow chart. There you go. Thank you.
It's really hard to tell
Yeah.
early on if the
Right,
game.
so it's early on, so
Yeah,
like whatever.
so-
That was just kind of
Yeah.
like my sort of take.
It seems like the tools they're giving you are obviously good for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, and
Now
that's
I'm going off an hour.
that's completely fine. It's just that
Yeah.
I
Thank you,
really
chat.
hope that doesn't
Appreciate
happen.
it.
There's no evidence of that happening right now, but based on the way that things are sort of limited in comparison to previous Mortal Kombat,
because they want combos to be more grounded. So
Yeah.
so a lot of stuff looked very similar.
Yeah, and that's the problem is that I want people to be able to do different things in certain situations. Oh, okay, this person just did a wide open move. What is this person gonna do? Well, with Ken or Cammy, they do the flowchart thing that guarantees this amount of
Yeah,
damage.
and then the meaty setup and
Everybody does it.
Like the most-
But what I want to see in a game is people doing different things and still coming up with the same kind of damage or a little bit less, but then it sets them up for an Oki. That's what I
In
want to see.
creative ways.
In creative ways. That's
Yeah.
what I want to see.
I
That's
mean,
what, that's what will make the
that's
game longevity.
that's the biggest worry of mine with MK11. Like biggest worry is
Right.
that every character just kind of looks like everyone's playing that character,
Right,
and you
right.
really can't.
That's
tell.
the
and then
fear.
the character that's ultimately like better than others is going to win sometimes. And,
Right, and that's the big fear.
But at the same time, there's a lot of like situational creativity with crushing blows and stuff of the like
Yeah.
to make moments like that really unique. Where like this guy's really good at setting that up. Or
Yeah,
something
creativity
like that.
over optimal damage.
yes,
I love
absolutely.
that. Yes, that's what we
Yeah.
need to see. More creativity, less optimal damage.
But I mean, at the same time, that's like a whole nother issue. I think the things on a surface level that can actually be adjusted from developers at this time until launch or until beta, whatnot, is make the meter burn button, meter burn your moves.
Right.
Yes, number one.
Amplify moves just doesn't. It's just confusing and an
It
extra
is confusing because
thing.
it's like in Street Fighter you do your V trigger. It's not different for every character. It's the same thing. All
Yeah.
the characters do the V trigger.
And
If
it's
you
not
wanna
that
do an
it'll-
EX move. You use all 3 buttons.
It's not that
like-
it's specifically
Yeah.
hard to do. It's just that it's an extra step that seems unnecessary.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It doesn't improve the game. Like, oh, it does it because this, and it's I just don't
So the
see it.
so the bottom line is our biggest complaint is the movement.
biggest complaint really is the
Is the
movement.
movement.
It's like
Probably the dash.
characters and your dashes, because character, let's be
I would
honest,
think it'd be less floaty jumps too. I would
character
go for
movement in this game is like, they went back to MK9 and they actually say that several times. And yes, it's true, you can dash cancel blocks, but it's like an extremely nerfed version of MK9.
Yeah.
So let's get things a bit closer to the way MK9 sort of works mobility-wise in terms of character walk speeds and character dash speeds. And I
Yeah.
think that's mostly it. Like, And I hope that stuff, which is literally what everyone is talking about.
Right.
That's what everyone says, is that if the characters feel slow and the dashes feel kind of useless, it can be a little difficult to get in on the opponent if they don't want to be get in on.
Yeah.
And I agree. I completely agree with that. If that stuff had a bit more creativity to it,
Yeah.
the one of the things I love about MK9 when I started understanding how dash blocking kind of works or dash attacks is that to open people up, you had to cancel your dash within a certain amount of frames and get that attack out at the perfect time.
Yeah,
and there was no limiter on it. You could actually choose when to stop and
it, yeah,
attack.
yeah.
So it set up for really interesting pressure. Some way too good than others.
Ha.
That needed probably some more toning. But it was difficult. Like, oh wow, this is actually to do this correctly, to actually set up the optimal dash and time that distance and stop and do the attack when I needed to. That shit is not easy.
Well, that's why people love watching pros play the fucking game, because they do stuff that they can't.
Because in MK9, there's a very obvious skill gap in mobility in that game.
Yeah.
When you see somebody that's good
Yeah.
at mobility in MK9, and even more so than MKX, because MKX is a bit more limited with
Bro,
running.
me and Kenny can tell a good Cabal player just by the first 5
Well,
seconds.
yeah, I
they
know.
literally do the
I know.
exact thing. They're like, oh, okay,
Cabal is
this
a
guy's
unique scenario.
Yeah,
I'd say
you're like,
a
oh,
better
shit.
example is like, do you see a good Johnny Cage? Someone that doesn't have access to a lot of mobility, like
Yeah, yeah.
naturally,
When
that
he's-
doesn't have like crazy dash cam. Like I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
Johnny doesn't have that stuff in MK.
No, once he starts hitting you and you're blocking, and you see the strings that he starts doing, then you realize, oh god, this guy's a good John Cage.
Yeah.
because you can't stop blocking.
Yeah.
He's
And
constantly-
if there was more stuff like that and that's because characters actually had the dash space to work with to make that good. If that stuff is a bit more present in MK11, I think that alleviates a lot of the issues that ourselves and many other players have right now.
I'm so glad we live in a day and age where we can, like, the general public can kind of test out the games because of betas and stuff like that, and we can literally show them, hey, this probably isn't a good idea.
Well, I
or,
mean,
you know, like, kind of help them out and stuff
there
like
was there was a big issue with Injustice in closing the gap, and they literally adjusted the mechanic to make it better. I don't know, it didn't get much better, which was the full screen roll.
Oh yeah,
get
yeah,
around
I
things.
remember that.
But it was still
like
it still ended up being very risky and not that great of a mechanic. But they literally added that to get you in on the opponent in
because
case you
people
needed
complain.
to.
People were like this.
So I don't think they need to go that drastically. I think the biggest drastic change they can do to the mobility, you know, the roll that the characters do when you get up, you can do a forward roll and back roll. What if you just let people do that naturally?
Right.
Or if it could just cost a defensive meter and you could just roll in.
I'd be down. Like
Or
I was
roll
thinking,
through.
like there should be like an armored dash or a faster dash or something. Like
It was shocking to see MK just like add a roll, like a defensive wake up roll that was very wow, you can tech get up like Street Fighter. Like,
Yeah.
wow, holy shit.
Right.
Um,
I never implemented that yet, so I'll have to check it out.
It's interesting. So I don't think they need to go that far. I think just adjusting what they already have in the game works, because that process of going in and out and poking each other with your strings and hit confirming, that can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Figuring out the opponent. It's just once you figure out what's your good anti-airs, what's your good thing here, what's
Frame
the good
damage,
thing there,
frame data, and
your
all
good
that stuff
frame
like that.
data,
Yeah,
like
you'll figure it out.
like that can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm actually very excited to see where they take it, because I think the game is specifically designed this way for input, to see where they can
improve.
where they can
Yeah.
take things in certain directions.
Yeah.
And some guys are like, you guys just don't want to play neutral. That's kind of the thing, is that
Because it's been done so many fucking times.
It's
not
like-
like it's a bad thing. It's just that it's been all.
when the game focuses so much
on it.
on that, I get a little, like the literal thing that happened with Street Fighter V. I get a little worried when the game focuses so much on that one element
Yeah.
that I'm worried the characters are going to be, the characters are going to play the same for everyone. Where it's like just the one person is going to be better at predicting whether or not you're going to throw. I'm going to predict whether or not you're going to be offensive. I'm just going to outpoke you. And the impressive thing won't be like the execution. The impressive thing will be how good are you at outpoking me.
Right.
People are allowed to like that. Is it my
Yeah.
personal preference? It's not. But that doesn't make a fighting game specifically good or bad, in my opinion. But in some ways, people consider that to be the quote unquote honest fighting game. Things that don't interrupt the neutral. And people like just playing the pure neutral. And that does appear what they're kind of going for early with Mortal Kombat. So I don't think that should be interrupted. I'm just saying.
But like,
I'm
add
just
something
saying,
else.
not even add something else, just adjust what's already in the game a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, just make things a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Like, right now, it's not even that the neutral is specifically bad, it's just slow. Like,
Yeah.
it's very... the walk speeds are so slow, dude. Like, you're supposed to walk, and it's just like,
Yeah.
it's really slow. And a lot of people aren't going to understand what we're talking about just because you guys are watching it, and you're like,
it's the thing,
I get it. I see that it's like that way, but I like that.
Sports. It's like football, basketball, baseball. Some fucking people love baseball. I love baseball. I love to watch it. Right? Me, I'm like, oh, I just want things to happen.
Baseball's only
Maybe
fun to
I just
play.
have ADHD or some shit like that, and I like to see action, and I like to see, it's like a
Is
Mayweather
it fun to
fight.
play Simmons when you're sitting there waiting for the ball to come? Like if you're in the outfield,
It's fun to be with
And
your
you're
friends.
waiting for-
It's fun to be with your friends in the stands.
you're right. Yeah, it's fun to be your
Talking
friends in the
about shit.
stands and
Yeah.
you're chewing fucking tobacco.
And what it's like.
And I'm not even saying I liked the 50-50s.
Well, that's kind of like a weird thing because
I-
if you have
I
a really
don't.
good pitcher, you're not going to get much play.
No, you're not. So you're gonna be on the
You
outfield and
kinda
like,
don't-
God damn, this
but
game is
people-
fun.
That means like someone's doing his job, so you're okay
And
with
people
that.
tend to go like, oh, so you don't like
3
neutral,
outs.
that means you like 50-50s and stuff
No.
and running. It's like, not really. Like, I don't think extremes in anything in life are fucking good.
yeah.
You take something to the craziest degree, and it seems like, MKX was 1 degree in that direction of crazy, and like, you're gonna get blown up by everything.
Right.
Which almost gave it a little bit of eloquence that everyone is fucking getting blown up by 50-50s all the time, and who can control the bullshit.
Yeah.
I like Marvel vs. Capcom. Okay?
Me too, dude.
But the other one is you take it in a completely different direction, which this game does, and it tones everything down so much.
You know what's crazy about Marvel vs. Capcom is that it does have the 50-50 bullshit, but it's not.
Well, there's so much more. Like,
that's so much
like
in there.
okay,
It's
so
it's not
this-
like fucking the most.
For
focused
example,
thing.
this is why, like the games I said, Guilty Gear, Killer Instinct, and I'm specifically saying games that are 1v1 games, and
Yeah.
KOF is a 1v1 game. It
Yeah.
has teams, but it's 1v1.
Yeah.
Those games integrate a lot of different mobility options and things for your characters to do in the neutral outside of just the grounded neutral.
Yeah.
So you're essentially conducting what you normally need to do in all fucking fighting games, but the neutral isn't just here, it's all the way up here.
Yeah.
It's actually in multiple different areas. The neutral might actually be played in the air at times.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. For
that's
sure.
something I love about King of Fighters 14 is that you have so many mobility options. Like my neutral is to either get a jump in and blow them up, or do an empty jump low, or cross them up, or do a super jump, or a short hop, or
Right,
back roll, or
right.
forward run. Like, I love that shit,
Yeah,
man.
you have all the
if
options.
you're really good and in depth,
Oh, dude.
there's a lot.
There was
Yeah,
a
so much
moment when
stuff.
KOF
There's a lot
14
you
first
can do.
came out, and I was like, this game is clunky as fuck.
I would.
We all felt the same. We're like, man, I don't know how people like this. It just feels like a really
Oh,
weird
yeah.
CBS2.
Yeah.
And then a day later, I fucking love this.
Yeah,
Holy shit, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
3
I
types
think-
of jumps in that game. You know, the long, normal,
Long, normal,
short.
and super, or short, yeah.
That's what I have a problem with those games, honestly.
rolls, the
This
ones.
is just me. Is that I think sometimes there's too many options, and I feel like Guilty Gear, and what was the other one by Arxis? The one
Blaze Blue?
Blaze
Cross
Blue.
tag, yeah.
It
There's
depends
so
on the
many
type.
options.
I mean,
There's a lot of
it's
stuff.
like, yeah,
So many options that
there are,
it's
but-
very intimidating. It's very intimidating.
Sure, but if you people who really take the time
To learn those things.
it is rewarding.
Yeah.
I feel.
All of us definitely want to play more of the game.
Oh,
It's just that there is definitely an echoing concern of many people that played it, because
Yeah.
not a ton of people have played MK11 to have the perspective, much
Right.
less have played it as much as like I did. And it's all personal opinion, because some people might like very
Yeah.
slow
Some
fighting
people-
games.
Right,
Some
right.
people
And
are
that's-
happy about that. Some people like
That's
that.
completely fine. But what it will do is be extremely divisive, where it will be you're going to have the guys that like crazy MK, which is the way it's been for a very
That's what
long
I like.
time, or the people that have been complaining about MK to make the game more honest, and now they're technically going in that direction really hard. So it's going to sort of split the player base between people that like the old way and like the new way, and they're going to be at each other's throats like crazy.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is that I'm Captain fucking Balance. I'm a Libra. Let's just put it down the middle. Let's not go so aggressively in one direction. Let's just go a little bit towards the middle of what's going on. Yeah, MK2 versus MK3 all over again.
Oh,
Because
God.
MK3 changed everything. And
Yeah,
you got
it's just
super
a-
offensive. Like,
Yes, and that's the thing that I liked about MK3. I wasn't a
Does have a bit
fan
of a feel of
of
that.
the preset combo system that they had, because every character had this person has a really long combo. Let's just do that one thing every time you're in a particular situation where you want to do a combo. I like the idea of freeform combos, just creativity, coming up with
Yes.
your own shit
Yeah.
and doing your own thing. MK3 locked the combo down to one specific.
And that was kind of
sequence.
when I learned MK3, I'm like, this is a little goofy.
Yeah, well, because
But then you can break it.
Well, I mean, yeah, you could break it, but they did that specifically because they were just following suit of what was popular at the time. So they were like, yeah, let's
at
go with
least some of the
fucking
combos were cool, and then you.
Of course, they were cool, but you saw the same thing over and over again.
That none of what I'm talking about applies to anything else in MK, because I think everything else in MK11 looks great. I mean, I've played a lot of fighting games and seen them go through a lot of changes.
Yes, yes.
And I think
Patches will be
and
are
things
coming.
are already going to change that they're already planning to change. And,
Didn't they say that this build was already old?
Well, it is, but we don't know how old it is. Like
Right.
the thing is, when it comes to builds like these, and I can tell you from experience of working on KI, they're either like made for the event or anything like that. The craziest thing is that this build is actually closer to what is current than it is, because it actually has menus and modes, and you can go in and put shit on characters.
Right,
That still takes a long time to put together.
Right.
So it's more current than I think it technically is. However, if there's one thing that is definitely open to change in fighting games at any given time is gameplay.
Yeah, yeah.
That is the one thing that
They
can
can
be
easily
changed at any given time and is actively changed over and over and over again after a game is released.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think that's all of our takes right now. I'm gonna end it with Kenny. What's the character you're looking forward to the most if you pick any single character?
If like that are out right now, or
No. Any character that could be in the game that isn't in the game yet, that you would want to be in the game.
I'd have to go with my main, Melina. I have the most fun with her. She can stop projectile spam.
Oh yeah.
I just need characters
Right
that
on
do
top of
that.
you no matter what.
She was the number one for like, hey, you're gonna throw a projectile, I'll fucking fuck you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve, how about you?
Jade.
Well, Jade wasn't even that good.
That's the problem. That's why
you want a good Jade.
I want a good
Yeah.
fucking Jade.
Okay.
Get her back.
I
Make
get
her
what you
fucking
mean.
awesome.
I get what you mean. Simmons,
Yeah.
anyone that specifically sticks out for you?
Purple rain.
Yeah.
Purple. Because the thing is, like, you look at Baraka and Scarlet, they have some wildly different moves.
Yeah.
And Rain kind of just had, like, stream and bubble.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like there's a lot.
and
There's,
flip kick.
yeah, the little, like, there's a lot of unexplored potential, I feel, with the water bender.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
not because he has sub for the ice, but I mean, like,
I agree.
there's probably a lot of interesting things they could do with
Well, there's already some rain stuff in the game, so
I think he's in.
we'll see. We'll see.
Well,
what
you know
happens.
what's funny about Garrus is that he kind of feels like he's like a cross between Tremor and Kotal Khan. Like, I see the Kotal Khan-ness. He's
little bit.
literally doing combos, picking you up, and then knocking you.
Kotal Khan was a very interesting character in MK10 as well.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I mean, I definitely don't see him coming back. As far as some of the new characters, I don't see any of the new characters coming back. The only one I think might come back is Devorah.
Yeah.
Everybody
I like
else,
Devorah a
I'm
lot.
pretty sure.
I have three characters. There's one that definitely takes the top spot for me, but I have three that kind of, and they sort of inject other characters. Number one is definitely Noob Saibot, but at the same time, I want Noob Saibot to be more engaging and more fun.
Yeah.
Right,
because
that's true.
his game plan,
playstyle has
his game plan in MK9 is, I mean, everyone would kind of
It's just
agree.
new now, right?
Yeah.
It's just new.
His MK9's playstyle is a little. This is what's good, and that is what's good, and chucking shadows. I'd like to see.
He was one of the few zoner characters that were in there, and of course, the zoner characters didn't work out very well.
I just want to see him do more crazy shit where he duplicates his ass with goopy bullshit.
Yeah, and embraces that fucking
integrates that into badass
Be
gameplay
unique like
ways.
Garrus
yeah.
and like this. We want
And then right after that is a human version of Smoke, like a cool human version of Smoke.
Yeah.
And Triborg. I think,
I want
dude,
the robots
I
back.
think it is unnecessary to do Cyber Sub, Cyrax Sector,
Separately.
Cyber Smoke separately anymore.
Yeah.
I think Triborg is the way to go.
Yeah, Triborg could come back and imagine like designing them and getting cool costumes.
That's
and all
the
that kind of
only
shit.
thing about the variations that I like is that they were able to switch between. Like, there was actually three separate.
That was
characters.
badass. It was four.
That was
It was
four.
fucking
Sorry,
four.
yeah,
Yeah.
four fucking
And
characters.
if you go that route, I made that prediction before because there's the character Serena, and part of three assassins that are Quan
Yeah.
Chi's three assassins. Serena, Kia, and Jataka.
I would put Takeda's absolutely up there,
Each
Chad, but
variation.
Takeda doesn't take the spot over Noob Saibot or
Yeah.
Smoke or Triborg.
I know you're a Takeda
Yeah.
fan.
Takeda was my main in MKX, but I wouldn't actually put him over any of those characters. I prefer any of those characters instead of Takeda.
Yeah.
Would I still like to see Takeda and Aaron Black and fucking Predator? Sure.
Fucking
Like, I
alien
want to see
shit.
Aaron Black and I want to see Takeda and I want to see them done in new and unique ways.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a reason why people get aggressively defensive about the gameplay in a game that a lot of them haven't played yet.
Yeah, I get
and why some people are like, aggressively in one direction, because what is happening? The gameplay is very divisive.
Yes.
It's dividing the people that knew previous Mortal Kombats and the people that like, a new, more honest Mortal Kombat.
Right, and I understand. I remember seeing somebody said this that they don't want to see people like pre MK9 be elitist and stuff like that and talk about well this isn't as good
Dude,
as us. Like
this isn't MK.
This
Like,
isn't like
Mortal
this
Kombat has the closest this is to Mortal Kombat is technically MK2.
Yeah,
And
even then,
why do I use MK2 as an example? There's no dashes in MK2.
not at all.
But there is walking and there is jumping, and walking is better than dashing. So
Yeah.
it's a lot like MK2 in
Right.
many ways. And that's not from my that's not from my lips. That's from the developers. The
Yeah.
developers are literally like, we want to go back. There's a reason the logo has a 2. There's a reason why the 11.
Oh yeah, the 11's in the middle because
Somebody, you know how MK2's logo is?
I
How
actually
the
didn't notice
number
that.
2 is
Yeah,
in the middle.
Yeah.
That's pretty specifically
Well, this is
designed. that way.
alphanumerical, and Mortal Kombat 2 was Roman numeral.
Yeah.
Well, MK. I mean,
And
was
MKX was Roman numeral.
Yeah, MKX was Roman numeral.
So it's like that. I think that is literally by design.
But 3 was not.
So
no, they didn't. But the earlier versions, the earlier designs of MK3 was Roman numeral.
MK2 is a sick game,
Yeah.
but if you go back and
4.
you play it, and it's still got a lot of the cool stuff that I love, and it is one of my favorite Mortal Kombats. It definitely is. It's got some movement jank to it.
Yeah.
Just like the old Mortal Kombats do.
Like I said, I can't wait to play this game. So.
I can't wait to play more.
Yeah. Mortal 2.
Mortal 2 Combat.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 2? Mortal
Yeah,
2
they got-
Mortal.
they got-
2 Mortal 2 Combat?
Yeah.
3 Fast, 4 Furious?
What?
Oh shit.